Okay. So I'm just gonna, who is this guy, Josie? Who is this?
Martin Luther King.
Yeah, right. Probably one of the most famous people in America. So I picked him because he's a great
Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr., right? He's got an incredible face. That's actually true. He's really got a lovely, face. But he's like the second or third person that we've tried to draw from the side. So what does that mean? It means that I'm going to draw a line. These are two equal halfway points. So that means this. Here, hold on. If you can see here my face, right? You can see that these two halves are equal, right? Because I divided them in half. And if I turn my face this way, all of a sudden, this half becomes smaller than this half, right? So when somebody has turned their face to the side, this is still equal halves, but they don't look like equal halves because this half is moving away. So this is the half that is moving away from us. Here, let me move this. And that means that all the features on this half are doing something different than they are on this half. So we almost treat them separately. One of the things we do know about this measurement is if I were to 1, 2, 3 equal thirds. So this is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3. You'll see that the eye line from the top of from where the hairline starts to where the eyebrows are is in that first third, right? And the nose, the very bottom of the nose is in the second, and the mouth is in the third.
Leah?
Yeah.
He's also tilting slightly because his eyes are not straight across.
Yeah. Yeah. Slightly. Not as big as you think.
Yeah, not like this.
Yeah, everybody is. When they're turning their heads, they're always tilting a little bit. There's always a little tilt. So we'll get to that in a minute. If I were to give you another measurement, I'm going to do this in a different color so it's not confusing. All right. If I were to do, yep, that's definitely true. From the top of the head to the halfway point down the face, you will notice that's really the middle of the eye line. Okay, so the very middle of the face kind of goes from this end here over to here. All right, so the eye line, and yes, Jean, it's slightly tilted. So let's see what that tilt really looks like. I think it looks like, yeah, a little bit of a tilt. Not too much of one. Okay, so that's like the next measurement that you want to be thinking about. And then the third thing that we want to think about is kind of, and we're going to be working on eyes first, which is why I wanted to show you this big, is to show you that like when a face is facing forward, basically it's 5 eyes across. When this face is facing facing away from us a little bit, it's still pretty close to 5 eyes across. So this is the eye, right? 1, 2, there's an eye space between this eye and this eye. And then you'll see that the third eye, this is the same size as this eye here. it goes to the very edge of the face and the eye comes in a little bit. So when you're trying to figure out, right, so everything on this side is a little bit smaller, but not too much, just a little bit. And I can figure it out by going 1, 2, 3 with this eye length, 1, 2, 3 on this side to get the eyes. And then I'm going to go 1, hold on. 1, oops, that's not in the right place. This is the same size as the eye. 1, 2, 3. So it's still 5 eyes across. Do you see that? If this were an eye, and this were an eye, and that were an eye, and they're all the same distance, right? There's still 5 eyes across. So when I'm trying to locate the eyes, I want 1 eye length space in between. And then this eye, because it's on the short side, the side that's going away from us, it's slightly shorter. Slightly shorter, right? So this eye actually goes to the very edge of the face. Okay, so does anybody have questions about that before we go into anything else? I'm going to show you 2 more things here, and then we're going to actually practice. And Josie, if this feels like a lot, don't worry, just do the best you can. Don't worry. I don't expect you to like ask any question you want. These guys have been doing this for a long time, so I just don't worry. I'll walk you through the exercise. All right, so let's look at the nose. That's the nose on this side. That's the nose on this side. See the difference? Look at the difference in the shape. Okay, I know there's this and this, right? But if you're going from the bottom of the nose up to the bottom edge of the nose, this is the shape. So notice this shape, it's literally from here to here, it's literally twice. This size is twice the size of the nose on this side. And the angle is different. The angle goes up more on this side. The angle here is much less extreme and it goes out longer. Got that? Is that helpful? Is this helpful?
Yes.
Yeah, super helpful, right? And then, I didn't
Wait,
quite.
before you go below the nose, it looks like our right side of his nose, the bigger half, lines up with the inside of his eye, but
it always does. Yeah.
Yeah. But on the other side, it looks maybe it's just
well, if you look here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
But see, but that's the inside, not the outside.
What's that?
That's the inside of the curve.
Yeah, there's a slight change. There's a slight shape. There's a slight change.
So it's
in shape.
okay that it doesn't line up exactly.
Yeah, it could. I mean, the idea, Jean, is really just to see where it lines up, right? With the idea being, right, that's the rule. So here is where the outside lines up. It kind of lines up about here, right? Yeah, it might be a little different. But if you take it to this inside line, that lines up.
Okay.
Right, with the edge. Great. Good question. Okay. Remember my favorite, here I'm going to put this more in the center. We can see the center because there's this kind of little heart shape with his mouth. We'll get there, right? So remember my favorite measurement here is that the first thing we decide is where is the middle line of the mouth. 2, 3. And what we learn is that this middle line of the mouth is exactly at 1/3 of the way down this last third. So I can just divide this bit into 3 equal thirds and it's there. Okay, that's where the middle line of the mouth is. And then really here is, I know I've covered it up a little bit, so don't worry, we'll get back to it. Look at the shape, like the nose on this side, this angles up more. On this side, it's more straight and up. Look at the difference in shape on this half and this half. Most of you, when you've been drawing this, have been flipping these around, trying to bring this down, right, instead of up. But remember that everything, right, even this middle line is kind of going up. This, everything is kind of going angled up a little bit. So, oh yeah, and let's look at the eyebrows, right? Eyebrows kind of line up here. Eyebrows are kind of lost. But we'll get into this in a second as we get into the bigger shapes. So this is really the difference between this side and that side. And I just really wanted to emphasize that. I'm going to send that across. And remember, Jean, when you're working on the rules, right? Not to get too caught up in exactly things being exactly the same on every face, but knowing how to line things up, right? So once we've lined up the eyes, then we know how to line up the nose, right? That's the bigger issue. Because, oh yes, Addie, we just got a note from Addie's mom. So I'm going to take a picture of this and send this down, just so you guys can look at it. Josie, does this make any sense at all to you? Is it interesting to you?
It is very interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot in terms of measurements. Oh dear, I got a little bit of red on my thing. Okay, so let's come here and let's draw these eyes big. I'm going to use a pencil. You can use whatever you want, but you should be able to erase. And one of the things we want to kind of remember here, I'm going to mark this. Yeah. One. Oh, wait, here. Yep. 1, 2. Yep. So this is one end of the eye. Right here and here. And then if I take my finger to mark it and I come over here, that's where the other eye starts. And then third eye, this eye is a little bit smaller. So it's 1, 2, 3. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to do with your with your pencil, is to just mark out any size shape of eye. And it kind of goes up, kind of goes down like this and then across. So don't get too caught up on angling. Just mark how big you want your eye to be. And we're doing this eye. And if you want to make, right, this, you can put this mark here and this mark up a little bit higher. Do that. Oops. You can make it bigger than mine. And in fact, I'm going to make it bigger. Hold on. I'm going to do it even bigger because we have room. Okay, so we're going to go into, let me do this. Let's try this. I'm going to make it this big. It does not matter how big you make this eye. Make sure that this mark, which is this end, is a little bit higher off the ground than here. Okay. And then what's the next thing we do? What do we do next? Once we've marked this.
You measure the nose space.
Yep. So I just take my, see how I'm taking, I can do this a couple ways. I can actually take a ruler, right, and measure it and then just go over. Or I can take my pencil like this. See how I've got my thumb and my finger where on the edge of on the right edge of the eye, and it's lined up. So this is the length of the eye. So I can just come over here, mark that. And so now I know this is where the second eye starts. 1, 2, and then I can mark where the edge of the face is. So I know that the third eye doesn't go past here and doesn't go really up to here. It stops probably about here. Sorry, the third eye, the second eye. There is a third eye, but it would be up here. Most people couldn't see that. So has everybody done this? Are they equal? Do you want to send it over to me on the WhatsApp thread? Do you want me to check it or do you feel good about it?
I measured mine with a ruler, so that.
Okay. All right. Mariana, you good? Josie, you good? You've got that? Okay. So now let's look at shape. Okay. Now what can I use that won't? I want to draw. Oh. So one of the things I want to remind you guys about eyes, remember, eyes are not almond shaped. They are not as big on the top as they are on the bottom. They are not like that. Can you see that this doesn't look like that? Even if I draw it up here. Yeah, let's do that. I'll draw this so you can really see it. Eyes are not almond shaped. They are not equal size on the top and the bottom. Can you see that this shape is not like that shape? Right. What's happening? I don't want to draw. You know what? I could just print another one. Or I can. Here, let's see. What can I do? I'm looking for something really light. I can mark this with. Aha, let's try yellow. In reality, it's straighter on the bottom. And it's kind of more curved on the top. See how that looks more like the shape of his eye? Not like that, right? So the bottom comes up to about here. And the top of the eye, when I say the top of the eye, I mean kind of the eye shape, it's kind of more like this. So I'm gonna make this a little bit straighter. As it's at an angle, I'm doing that. And then this side is gonna be kind of more up. Really, actually it comes down like that. Really, that's the shape of the eye. It seems like it shouldn't make that much of a difference, but it really does. This is what makes drawing faces hard, right? And maybe this maybe bounces up a little bit more. It's possible. So you might find yourself kind of sketching in that shape. So, and then notice that another thing that is not true about eyes, and mostly when we're looking at them in real life, we can't see the entire iris, right? We can't see that because the upper lid is coming down. So unless I'm doing this, humorous relief here, right? You can't see my whole iris.
That's what makes people look crazy when you can
It
see the
does.
whole iris.
Or, you know, it's interesting. There are some people who have like eyes, lids that come up and their eyes look wider and it's noticeable. It's probably like, but most of us, our lids kind of cover our eyes. Hey, Paul.
Hey.
Okay, we're in the middle of a drawing lesson, so just jump on in, friend.
Oh.
You guys, no, you can work.
Else, but if you have time, I could jump in. Yeah.
Just work on whatever you want to work on. I'm just teaching a lesson right now, so I'll help you in between while they're working on it. So do it. Yes, work on what you want.
Okay.
This is Paul, you guys. He's from LA.
Hi, Paul.
I'm going to remove this spotlight. Okay, so now we're back here. So notice the shape. I lost my yellow. There it is. Notice the shape of the iris is kind of like that. And I'm not just paying attention. Nope, I got to move that over a little bit. So you see, I'm not getting this in the right place all the time. It's kind of up a little higher. Okay. Got that? And I'm not just paying attention to this shape. I'm also looking at this shape and this shape, right? That's how I knew I was wrong from the beginning, is that I didn't quite have this shape correct. Do you see that? When I had my line down here like this, didn't quite have my shape right. Though now, I don't know. Now I kind of want to split it in the middle. Let's see. So this is the next step. There's a little white light here. And notice that in the iris, it's not all white, right? It's not all light. So here it's dark. Here it gets a little lighter. So here, and notice actually, if you really look close, you'll see it's actually kind of dark, kind of along the top edge. And that's because, this is true about all eyes, that's because the upper lid shadows everything. You'll see it over here too. So I'm sketching in. Yeah, Paul, just work on stuff and send stuff over as you need help with it. Now, who has taken this class before, who remembers what's the thing that is the most distinctive? What makes the biggest difference when you're drawing eyes kind of between different people? What makes people look different? Jean or Mariana? I know you know the answer to this. What in eyes, what's the most, there are two things that are really distinctive and they're very different between people.
It's the space between the lid and the crease, and then the crease and the brow.
Yeah, exactly. So there's this upper lid line. It's a little hard to see here because it's in shadow, but you can see the top edge of it. Right? So this is very different on different people. And then there's a difference, right? So there's how much space is there between the upper lid and the upper lid line, the top. And then where is the eyebrow? Now on the dark side, this eyebrow, we really can't see. It's kind of, it's kind of like mostly precluded by shadow. But just to show you the difference, once again, you can see Martin Luther King has these very archy eyebrows with a lot of skin showing up here. Look at mine. See my, here, I'm even going to remove this for a second so you can really see it. See mine? You can see almost none. Like, so here, my eyebrow, my eyelid line, my upper lid line, there's a lot more space here and less up here. Look at your own eyebrows. Look at your own upper lid line. Observe how different this is. So this is a huge difference between people. This is the difference. It's the thing that makes everybody different. So these are the things that you want to really pay close attention to when you're trying to get likeness. You don't want to keep drawing the same eye over and over again. Look at the difference. In fact, Jean, I'm going to pop you up just so you can see. Look at the difference, because Jean has, look at the difference between our eyebrows and upper lid lines. Actually, Jean, your eyes have a very wide open look. You have that wide open look because there's much less space here and there's more space here. Did you guys see that? Compared to me, Mariana. I'm going to pop you up. Come on. I know you're tired. Okay. So look at Mariana. Also, a lot more space here and a lot of space up here. A lot different than me. Very different than me. Josie, should we take a look at yours? Want to compare? Here, I'm going to take myself down. I'm going to put you up. We'll compare you with. Oh, yeah. Can you look a little closer? Oh yeah, Josie has eyes a little bit more like Jean. Actually, although your eyebrow comes down lower than Jean's. Did you notice that? So this, your eye comes up wide, very pretty. Yep. So this is the difference between people, right? This is the difference between all of these different people. So these are things that we pay very close attention to when we're drawing eyes. Okay, here, hold on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to replace the spotlight. Okay, so let's get back to that. So now let's try and sketch in a little bit of these shapes. So I'm going to start with this. This is the upper lid line. Notice it kind of comes in here and across like that. Up here is this little bit of light. That's his skin that you can see that isn't in shadow. Right. And I can even check things like, is this, look at that. I can actually check and see. This can come up here, can come up higher. I know this seems like a very backwards way of drawing, but this is actually how you draw things and you can kind of see them. Right, and then eyebrow comes down here. And the eyebrow itself, it comes, if I want to line it up, it comes a little bit more. Here's the halfway point between the two. It comes a little bit to the left of the halfway point. So I can actually come here, find my halfway point. Eyebrow actually, it actually comes out to there and in. Crazy, right? You're crazy, girl. Crazy. To quote the newest TikTok meme or whatever, you're crazy, girl. Crazy. Anybody seen that? I seem to be just out in the last couple of days. Okay, so now I think I'd like to see. Yeah, well, let's sketch. Let's darken. So I'm darkening the darkest areas. Super dark here. A little bit less dark in here. Notice that this is like a, if 5 is darkest and this is lightest, the eyebrow is like a 5. The dark shadowy areas can be either a 5 or as it gets kind of closer to here, it's more like a 4. So it's a little bit lighter, not too much. And then this is like a 3. It's definitely lighter, so this needs to be darker. Maybe I need to lighten this a little bit, which I can do with my finger. See how I'm doing that? See how I can keep going over something to make it a little bit darker? And see how I'm paying attention to values. Oh, I'd have this shape right. I might have to change this shape a little bit. All right, and then I've got this kind of light color. It's like, I don't know, maybe a 2. It's much darker above here, but it's not exactly light in here. Same on the other side, kind of not exactly light. It's maybe like a 2 rather than a 1. And notice I'm kind of making my darks lighter. And then of course we've got the dark eye. So one of the things to know about eyes is that this outside edge is the darkest, and then it's very dark up on the top. Notice I'm going around my little white dot. It gets a tiny bit lighter as I come towards the bottom here. So it's a little hard to see because this is not a great photocopy. We can't really see his irises, but we can add them in. It's they kind of disappear. The iris is the middle dark part. See how all this?
Pupil.
Yeah, there we go. See that? So it's kind of super dark around the edge. Weird, right? All of a sudden this starts to look kind of like an eye. And then the last thing to really notice, which I'm going to sketch in with my pencil so that you can see it before we move to the other eye, is look at this little light edge. So the other thing that people do when we're drawing eyes, right, is that we make this bottom line very dark. It is not very dark. You can barely see it. So I'm actually sketching in kind of a light see how this conveys lightness. It's done with very light pencil, and this area in here is like super light. It's probably as light, if not lighter than here, than the white of the iris. And then below that is a little bit of darkness right here, and maybe in here. But above that, we really need to make that, and this gets kind of darker as we come around the edge. But you see how I'm leaving that light edge? See how I'm leaving that? Very important. So in this particular case, we can't even really see any eyelashes at all. Not at least, not on the dark side. We'll be able to see them on the light side a little bit more. If I want to, I can bring this down here. Isn't that wild how the eye starts to kind of come out? So now I'm going to take a picture of this, and I want you guys to finish this eye as best as you can and send it over to me on the thread. Do you, Josie, do you have the your mom's cell phone? I'm assuming you don't have your own.
I do have my own cell phone.
You have your own cell phone. Did you get the WhatsApp thread that I emailed her yesterday?
I took a picture of it. So
okay, you don't want to take a picture of it. You want to actually click on it.
Okay.
So hold on. I'm not sure how to get that to you. Do you have a hold on a second.
I'll just have my mom send it to me.
What's that?
I'll have my mom send it to me.
Yeah, have your mom send it to you so you can click on it. In the meantime, you could just hold stuff up. I can take a look at it. But this is what the thread will look like. So is this helpful, you guys? I think this is like really helping us kind of understand construction of the eye, because Mariana was pointing out that it's really hard to see, even with Martin Luther King, who has these really wonderful, strong features, right? It's still hard to get it, to see everything unless we're looking at it up close.
I made him a little too old. His upper lid came down a little too far.
So you know how to fix that. Notice what happens when the upper lid comes down too much, right? So
They
you
look
can
too
adjust
old.
those, right? Yeah, they look old, right? Like, so we adjust things as we're working. Now, as you're bringing this into your much smaller drawings, you're probably not going to be able to get to this level of detail, but you'll be able to see, Mariana, I guess I'm really talking to you here. I'd love to see you go back into your eyes and really try to get them. But before we do that, I want to see how you guys do with this eye. So go ahead and take a look, send it across. Okay. All right. So Jean, let's get everything way darker here.
Okay.
Way darker. See how dark this is? It will help shape. This is his upper lid line. It just happens to be on the darker side. I mean, you might like pull out a little bit right here. Try and get the darks, the real darks in. And look at this shape, right? There's this part that's kind of grayish, like a 2 or 3.
Yeah, I got that too dark, and then the darker part above.
Yep. Just keep working on it. Yeah, Mariana, you're gonna look at. You guys are creating. You're creating, and here, let me help you with this so that you can really see it. You're creating edges of things that aren't really there. Mariana, watch your shapes. This shape is not, this shape is not correct. This shape is not correct. Look at it. Look at it really closely. If you want, I'll turn it upside down, but you did this. You did this. You actually drew an almond shaped eye like that. And you moved the eye well over here and you made it round. And that's not what's happening. Do you see that? That's not what's happening. What's happening is the eye is more centered and it comes down to a point right to this lid. There's no, you cannot really see the bottom of it. You can kind of, but even this lid is obscuring it a little bit. So work on, also notice you can't see, you don't really know where the eyebrow's ending. Don't guess, just obscure it. If you can't see it, you shouldn't draw it.
I can see where the eyebrow actually.
Yeah, so don't draw it. So don't draw it. If you can't see it, don't guess where it is.
I'm saying I can see, not that I can't see.
Oh, you can see. You can see.
Yeah.
Right. It's a little bit easier to see it up here, but even so, down here you can see it really disappears into this whole dark shadow. So that's a lost edge. Right? You can't really see it. So reflect that there's a lost edge there. Do not draw the edge of the eyebrow because you can't really see it. This edge, you can't really see where it is. You can sort of see it, but you can't really see it. For the moment, leave it dark. Make no discernible edges there. I sense you girls are afraid of the dark, to make things too dark. I want you to go there. Make these dark. Dark, dark, dark. This whole thing is really super dark. And Josie, when you get a chance, you can send, you can hold that up or let me see it. Now I know with this second, and I take another minute just to work on it and then we'll go. If you want to, you could just hold it up until we get you into. Because you want to see what, let's see. Oh yeah, we got a little darker here. Hold on, I'm gonna add you as a spotlight so I can see. It's better. I think you went up a little too high, but let me double check that. So you see how I've determined my height is about here. So from the bottom of my lid to the top of my eye, it should not go much higher. Well, maybe it does go a little bit higher. Check and see, Josie, does this height go up to here? So that's where your light area will be. 2, 3. It should be 1, 2, and 3. Otherwise, that looks pretty good. I like that you got dark there. That's pretty good. The biggest sort of secret about drawing, and the thing that gets in the way for everybody, is that you try to guess what's going on when you can't really see. So instead of doing that, you should really focus on the dark and light shapes. So here we can't really see it, right? So we're really not going to draw it. We're going to draw it as if we can't see the edges. We can start the second eye here, right? Because we know that between here and here, this is where the second eye starts. And we know that the eye on this side has a slightly different shape. Let me see if I can sketch it in for you. This is like, look at the different shape that this eye has on this side. I'm going to sketch it above so you guys can really see this. It's like, here, sketch it up here. It's more like, it's kind of more narrow and then fatter here. This is the kind of inner eye, right? It kind of goes down like that more. And then the upper lid is like here. That's interesting, isn't it? Significantly different. Oh, sorry, Josie. I have you up here still. All right. So look at the difference in shape between this eye and this eye. And that's really strictly, so I know that my eye kind of ends, I can kind of do this. And then mostly straight, little bit curved, but mostly straight. And here's where things get really crazy. Here is that first shape. Here, because we can really see his upper lid on this side because he's in the light. Now I want to double check and make sure. Yeah, they're about the same height. So I want to make sure when I sketch these that I have them about the same height. I might bring it up just a little bit. It just seems so different, doesn't it? then what's happening? And then notice these shapes. So Mariana, I want you to pay attention to this shape and this shape as well as this shape to really get those shapes right. Don't do your idealized view, right? And here is the eyebrow on this side. And then it's almost, we almost can't even see it here. So up here. I'm more comfortable. Okay. Yes, there we go. Okay, so maybe. That's better. And this comes in like that. It's different enough. Oh. Isn't that wild? And look at how many times I've had to redraw this. I still don't think I have it right. I might, there's maybe a couple of things I'll have to redraw. But look at that shape. Okay, Paul, that looks pretty good. Are you doing a different lesson?
No, no.
Or
Same
you're
one.
just trying to draw? Okay, got it. Cool. And notice how it kind of fades off. So if I were to like measure from here to here, you could do things like measure here. Yep. I want this to be about this size. And then, yeah, his eyes have this, I don't know, if this is the nature of his, the shape of his eyes. So they have a really compelling, his irises have a very slanted, they almost look like V's here. Still a little darker here. Notice it's super light here. Remember, it's really light here. And then down here. I'm going to send you pictures of these so you can see the outer sketches. So I should have sent you these, more of these. So you can really see it. But in a way, you should sort of be forgetting what it is you're drawing. And you should sort of just be thinking about the light and dark shapes. Makes it easier. here's definitely darker around the outside. You can't really see that, but I can tell you that that is happening. So it's kind of, we can't really see the pupil on the top. Sort of disappears into the shadow. But when we come down here, we should be able to see a little bit of it at the bottom half. And then it's not wild. Just defies everything you think you know. Right? That's drawing for you. This is why it's hard, because everything you think you know, you have to relearn. If you really want to get into it, there's this kind of funky little shadow. It's lighter shadow, but it's kind of here. It's the bridge of the nose, kind of in between. I mean, we'd have to get into other things, but look at that, will you? Yeah, I think I made mine too big. This nifty little thing I'm using, Josie, is an electric eraser. It's really great. My other erasers are shot. So this one really helps. I'm gonna thin this out just a little bit. I think I got a little too heavy. And then it's like, light, 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 light. There's almost nothing there. Isn't that crazy? Is anybody enjoying this, or is this torture for you?
A
Yes,
little torturous, but yeah, I'm also enjoying it, so I guess it's.
Good. I'm gonna send it to you. This eye looks much bigger because there's a lot more shadow around it. Right? There's a lot more shadow. So it seems much bigger, but actually it's not that much bigger than this one, but the shadow makes it feel bigger. So it's really not the eye itself that's the bigger, it's the things around it. All right, so yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend as much time as we can on this idea. Let's practice. We can even do it 2 weeks. I don't really mind. I'm in no hurry, and I hope you guys aren't either. And I hope this starts to show you, right? So this seems huge, but that's because the shadow kind of extends here. It sort of artificially extends the eye a little bit longer. I'm just always fascinated by how different the shape is on this side than it is on this side. Wait till you get to the nose. Wait till we get to the nose. If we have time, we'll do that. Notice it's darker up here and we kind of lose the iris, and it's lighter down here. And then there's this little white spot. So basically, if you were to kind of go down like this, this is where it starts to get lighter. Like diagonally down. Everything up here is darker. Probably also notice down here, there's a little bit, it's a little bit. So underneath this little white edge, you could get a little dark. But we really need this light edge. Otherwise, the eye looks flat and unreal. If you think you've got something to show me, go ahead and show me, send it over, or I'll just wait. Let's see. Let's see. So Jean, kind of lose this edge here. You can't really see it.
Okay.
So lose it. Lose it. Make it, remember, I'll make it all dark. So this whole shape, and then I think we've got it. I still think like you're doing, this shape isn't quite, it needs to come up a little bit more. So yours is too rounded.
Yeah.
Right? Look at this shape, and this shape. And then this comes up more. This is a little steeper up. It's less like this, which is how you've drawn it. You've kind of done, I see you sort of trying to adjust here, right? It's really more like that.
Yeah.
It's much, and that's much more straight, right? It's much more extreme, but you're getting there. Here, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get rid of this so you guys will follow what I'm doing. I don't want you to see the edge. We can't really see the edge of the eyebrow. We can't really see where we can see the top edge, but we really can't see the bottom. Yeah, not too bad, Paul. Get your shadows in now. Good. Let's work on eyes for about 5 more minutes, a couple more minutes, and then we're going to go on to the nose. I hope I cut this the right way. I hope I gave us like, let's see. I might not have exactly. Be neat if I did do that. Actually, I kind of did. No, this is too big. This is different. This is a different size. So you can try and add it on here, but you don't really have to. We're gonna kind of treat this separately. Let's see. Much better. Really look at the shape.
Yeah.
Really look at the shape. It's arched up. Look at where this shape lines up. This, you have it going down like this. Really, it's kind of an arch up like that. I like the darks. I feel like this is better.
Mhm.
I like your highlight under here. Very nice. I like that under here too. You really got it. So just really look at this shape to help you shape your eyes. Look at those two shapes.
Mhm.
It's really more like a kind of a curvy slice of pizza than it is.
That's really gross talking about eyes that way.
I like pizza. What's wrong with pizza?
Can I nibble on that pepperoni above your eye? What?
Okay. If you're resisting what I'm telling you, if you're resisting making things too dark, if you're trying to guess where features are and you can't find them, observe. That is your left brain getting in the way of you becoming a good drawer, right? It's getting in the way. It wants to tell you what's going on and it's wrong. You want something different to be going on, right? Like you want to be able to see things more clearly. And you have to let go of what your left brain thinks should be happening. All right. Yeah, coming along, Paul. Mariana, do you want to send over where you're at, or are you guys ready to try the nose? Or do you want another minute? Oh, maybe one more minute. One more minute with eyes. Then we're going to go on to nose. Okay, and because we're doing this, I'm going to get another piece of paper. Where's my... I just had it. Okay. Because I'm trying to do these in isolation. I don't want to build them. I want you to really practice them in isolation. I'm going to get a new sheet of paper. One more minute, then we're going on to noses. And then you can just work on the features all you want. There'll be plenty of time. We're even like kind of running out of time as it is. Okay, all right. Removing that, I'm gonna focus on the nose. I'm not gonna have you line it up with the eyes. I'm gonna put the eyes aside. I want you to get another piece of paper. Let's see. Better, Mariana. Oh, I see you're using your little paper thing, right? You're using your little blenders. Very nice.
I haven't actually.
Oh, you haven't been using your blenders. All right. The only thing I'm going to tell you, we're going to work more on this. I really like the shape of this eye here. This one, you're still struggling with a little bit, but maybe you just need to get a little bit darker in this.
I don't. Well, I didn't see
Here.
what you're saying.
I'm going to, we'll talk about it later. Let's move on to noses and then we'll go back. Much better though. I believe this is much improved. I feel the work that you're putting in. I feel the work. Wait till we get to like drawing caricatures, like that's going to happen in October. And then you guys will be like, everything you told us, Leah, gets thrown out the window. So as I get like really, you know, crazy on you. All right. So here is the halfway point of the nose. Now observe that the bottom of his nose is down here and these little sides of the nose are up. So what does that make him? Anybody remember? What does that make him?
A pig.
Nope.
A
Fox. Fox means the nose. Pig is when
Oh, pig is
these
when that's up.
line up. Pig is when these line up. Fox is when these go up higher. Okay. So a couple of things to note about the nose. One is, let's see, I guess we can just determine how long to make it. I'm going to start by getting the length, just deciding how long you want to make the nose. Be any length, width. I want to make it a little wider. Right, I'm going to start with the width, the full width. And then I'm going to see 1, 2, 3. Look, and then if I divide this to, 3. If I divide this into thirds, I draw a line across and I divide it into thirds. This is 1/3, almost, a little bit less. So I'm going to draw a line straight across here. Right? And I'm going to divide it about here. Let's see. I think that needs to come a little bit further. It's a little bit 1, 2, 3. Yep. So if I divide it like this, 1, 2, 3. It's like 1/3 and a half. So it's 1. Here's the second third. And then it's like 1/2 third. That's not too bad. So I'm going to locate this side of my nose about if I were to go from here to here and then from here to here, it would be 1/3 and then 1/2. So go ahead and locate this line where you think it is. Even draw it down if you want to, up and down if you want to. And let me see where you've put it. And Josie, I guess I'm just going to have you hold your paper up when you've identified it, when you put it in the right place, so I can help you with the measurement. And if you don't understand the measurement, tell me and I'll repeat it. It's a little bit odd. It's not quite as neat as I would like. Two. Yeah. 2. Yep. Yep. Seems about right. So you're trying to place them in the place that they are. You don't have it. It's too far down, Jean.
Okay,
So just cover up the eyes so you're not really looking at
Okay.
them. Just focus on the nose. Don't try to put the nose underneath.
okay,
We're not focusing on that right now. But I do like, you can do it afterwards. Afterwards, do it, but try it separately at first. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks about right in height. But you don't have, here, wait, hold on. But I didn't want, all right, Paul, coming along. Nice. I like the shape on the right eye, on our right eye. Okay, so Jean, before you do this, draw these things in because they're not really, it's easy to get those in the wrong place. I want you to really focus on these shapes.
well, I
Leah,
just-
I'm gonna drop the eye a little.
Okay, I think that's good. So before we, that's right, the nose on the, it's more like, that's the nose on this side. And then it goes flat, up a little bit, and then kind of straight across. So really, it's like an angle line, like that. Notice I haven't yet drawn in the nostrils. We're gonna really de-accentuate those because you may have noticed that when you draw them, it's really hard to get them right. So one of the things that we do, I like them, Paul. I think bringing it down just a touch is fine, but I think it's looking in good shape, actually. There's a couple of other things I want to show you about the nose. One is, notice there's these light areas, but observe that about here, everything becomes a bit shaded. When it comes to about here, everything is shaded, right? This is like, Josie, when colors are light or dark, we label them like 1 to 5. So if 1 is white, right, really light, and 5 is like super dark. 2, 3, and 4 just get gradually darker, right? Like that. Does that make sense? Okay, so we've got this area down here that's pretty dark, 5-ish. This is like a 2. This is like a 4. This is the 2. This is the 4. This is a 3. This is a 1. 5. So as I sketch in here, notice that everything on the nose to about here is shaded in some way. It might be light shading. It might be dark shading, right? It's variations of shading. Yeah. right? So there we are, kind of the light dark shade. I'm sorry, so I know somebody's just sent me something. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks pretty good, Jean. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, excellent. It's helpful to use things. Maybe next time I will have you put everything in order. The next time we do this, I'll have us place it as well. But this time, let's just focus on this. And then, right, my darkest areas. Right, then it gets lighter. It's kind of lighter here. It's still dark, but it's not quite as dark. Like a 4.
I think Coco wants to say hello.
Hello, Coco.
Hi, Coco.
What really key is the difference kind of between this shape and this one. You know, that's the thing that's the most, I think, pronounced. This gets darker here. Then, Jean, you can add in this, right? Because this makes more sense. It kind of connects with this. But to get that line in before you kind of know where everything else is, it just kind of sits there. Might be in the right place, might not be. So much shading. It's a lot of work. All the shading. Mariana, Jean, Josie, Paul, I'm really liking the difference in mark making that I'm seeing in the work that you four are doing. I think I like it. I feel like everybody's kind of got an individual thing. The main thing I want you to know about the nose is that this dark sort of nostril is really, we make that very light. We make that very small in the scheme of things. And the other thing I want you to get about the nose is how much below here is in shadow of some kind. Now, it's in shadow here, but lighter because this is the light side. And it's in shadow here, but darker because this is the dark side. And the other thing is to really get this difference in shape. Guys, I'll be right back. Okay, let's take a look at this. How is it going? I'll take a picture of mine so you guys can see it. Is anybody finding this helpful?
It's helpful. I just suck at it.
It's just hard. It's just hard. Listen, we know that drawing isn't easy, but we know it's doable, right? It's just trying to get all the shapes right. Yep, yep, yep. Is that
Sorry.
Coco? Or the
It's
other
actually
one?
Coco and Teddy together, so
That's Teddy.
yeah.
How's
No, this
Teddy
is Coco.
doing?
What's that?
How's
He's
Teddy
good.
doing?
He's he threw up a few days ago.
Aw.
And he's been like, he went on a walk the other day and he was bad. He was pulling. He thinks he likes to attack other dogs. That's
Well,
his,
that's not good.
well, yeah, he's like, I mean, he's not a very big dog, but he thinks he can attack any dog he wants. And
He's a little tough guy.
Yes, big
yeah,
little tough
well, yeah,
guy.
he's got pretty big teeth. I mean, for his size, he's got like scary teeth.
He bit Paul's brother-in-law, so now he lives
Yeah.
with
Woo!
Those teeth, Those teeth, yeah.
Josie, do you have a pet?
I have 2 dogs. And the funny thing is, the biggest dog I have, her name is Coco.
Oh, well, let's meet Coco. Is she around?
My door is closed.
Okay, so another time we'll meet them. Yeah. We like dogs and the cats, all the dogs. Go ahead and send this in when you guys feel like you've got it. Or Josie, when you think you've got it, go ahead and send it over. Hold it up and I'll take a look.
Okay.
So the big things are, right? Different angle here. Minimizing this the darkest part to this very little line, and then getting all the different shading that's happening, right? There's all these different levels of shading that are happening. I'll send this over too so you guys can really see it. Okay. You're
Softball.
getting too dark and too light. Your values are too contrasty, Jean.
But are they in the right places?
Hold on, let me look. I'm going to send this over so you can really see it. A picture of this close up. No, they are not.
Yeah.
So take a look at these. I mean, I actually don't think this is too bad. I feel like this comes up higher and comes out a little bit more. See how, if you're gonna figure out how, let's see, wide this is, 1, 2, 3. This is in like, this light area is in kind of the middle third of this side. I mean, look at how big this is in comparison to this. If you look at the size of this, Jean,
So is mine too big or too small?
it's too small. Look at it.
'Cause
Look
I
at
had it
this.
bigger and
Look
it
up here.
looked-
Just look up here. Just look. Just look. From here, this should be the same size as this.
Okay, because I had it bigger and it looked crazy.
It is big. It's because you don't have the darks around it, honey. Get your darks in. This is the same length as this. From here to the end, it's the same width as that. So Josie, normally we would walk through a drawing from the beginning and get to the features last. What I think we're going to start doing is we're going to take faces over 2 sessions. So we'll start by doing like next week, I'm going to start you on a new face and we'll do all of this construction first, right? And then we might take a second week to work on features in that face. I think that's how it's going to work. So normally you're kind of picking up on the second half of something, right? That a couple of people did, but really actually the only person who did that here is Mariana. And I still think it's helpful, right? To practice this. I still think it's helpful. I think I made this a little too tall. So I'm bringing it in a little bit. Oh yeah, totally did. Well, let's see. These kind of line up. Oh, they're about right. Okay, so this, Mariana, this that you've done here, that's not happening. See it? You see how you've done that? You see how you've done that? That's not happening. You've arched his nose way too much. So you've done this in both cases, that. Can you see how far off? This is a much less dramatic curve. And one of the problems with doing this, right, is that you don't have any of the shadow that's happening underneath. So look, it's not that, it's straight. It's kind of up and straight across. It's up and straight across. Let's see. Let's see. Paul, you've switched these around. You've made this half big and this half small. This half is much smaller. This side is like nearly half, a little bit more than half the size of here. You did the exact same, and everybody's doing this arching thing. That's not really what's happening. Straight over, straight over. When you create an arch, it creates an entirely different shape. Look, I'm going to erase it so you can see. This is a different. When you do that, you get kind of an old man, old Jewish man nose. Do you see that? That's not the same thing at all.
I'm glad you said that, Leah.
Yes, I'm allowed to say that because I'm Jewish. You got an old Jewish man nose, right? Fill it in. Pay attention to the actual shape, not what you want it to be. Not what you think you're seeing, not that you know that what you think you're seeing, but what's actually happening. I know it's hard. That's why we're practicing. But I'm just showing you, look at the difference between that. It's much more straight. There isn't this arch thing happening here. All right. Oh, great, Jean. There you go.
Yeah.
I feel like you're almost there. I feel like the only thing you need to arch this side up a little bit more.
Okay.
So you see your nose is actually following this line. Okay, here, hold on. Your nose is actually following this line. This is actually like an angle. One up. It goes up a little bit higher. This is the shape of your nose. I like it on this side. But here, this is the shape. And it's really kind of comes in a little bit and down.
Okay.
Let's see. Paul, this is almost twice the length on this half that it is on this half. Almost, not quite, but almost. You need to make this side longer. There you go. That's it, Jean. That's it. That's it. Yep. Now look at what the shadows are doing on this side and on this side. Yep. Yep. That's it. That's it. Nice. Very nice. Josie, you want to show us yours? Here, hold it up.
There we go.
Yeah. Very nice shape. So just get your light in here and get it light over here, right? Light here. You've kind of lost a little bit of your contrast, right? Between your dark and your very dark. Very nice work. Oh yeah, Mariana, there you go. You got it. All right. I knew you guys were going to get this. I knew we were going to get there. It could still arch up just a little bit, but I'm very happy. Okay, there you go, Paul. Yep, that's the length. That's the length. Bravo, you guys. Great work. All right, shall we go on to the mouth and the mustache? The fun mouth. You're doing great. You've got it. You really have got it. I know you're probably
the mouth is the most difficult thing.
Yes, let's try. So let's practice it a little bit. So turn it over. Don't try to fit it in with the eyes and the nose and the mouth. Well, maybe next time I will teach it that way, but I'm not doing that this time. Now we're just practicing. And I also want to emphasize here that making mistakes is not bad. You know, it's part of the process. So don't think, I know I tend to go right to the mistake and I don't say, hey, you did all this other stuff really great. I keep trying to remember to do that. But don't think that you're doing everything bad, right? If I'm correcting you, don't think you're doing anything wrong. You're actually, in my mind, you're getting closer to right. Okay, let's come up even, yeah, a little bit. Okay. So, hold on just a second.
I hate this mouth. I love him, but I hate this mouth. I have erased mine like 10 times.
I liked it when we did the old guy with a little bit of cigarette hanging out because his mustache was so thick, you didn't have to do the upper lip. Remember it? Did you, was that before your time, Mariana? Before you
The
started?
one that we made
The old
with,
guy with the old
with the
guy.
charcoal. Yeah, with the
Yeah,
charcoal.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that nice thick mustache because you didn't have to show.
That
it
was,
off.
we just had to make the mustache right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've got to do the mustache right and the upper lip right.
The mustache is actually very difficult because he has like a very straight line and a very.
Sorry, I
shaped line.
totally knocked off my microphone. That won't happen again. Well, it could, but all right. So let's look at the halfway point here, which is about here, I think. No, maybe it's more like over here. Ugh. Here. I'd say this is about the halfway point of the mouth, right? And notice how different, and he's got these very distinctive shaped lips. So the first thing to look at is, okay, this is like kind of the mustache shape. But notice that once again, and notice that we kind of lose the edge of the mustache and the edge of the mouth into the mustache. Notice the different shape. Notice on this side how everything's kind of angling up. This is angling up, that's angling up. Here, the angle is much less extreme. Okay, notice a couple of other things. Observe that the top lip is much darker than the bottom lip. That is always true in all faces if light is coming from a normal way. Notice the bottom lip is lighter, almost, we can't almost really see this lines. We might even make it kind of soft. And let's see. I'm just trying to sketch in. And notice that we kind of lose the edges here. Also, of course, notice this is like 1, 2, 3. Yep, this is exactly 1/3 the size. So if I kind of went from here, if I drew a line from here to here, right at the very edge, this is 1/3. Oh, even more. Even a little bit more. So when I start this, also notice that this is shorter than this, right? Notice the top lip is shorter than the bottom lip. So how do we start this? So I think a lot of what happens is one will actually, so Mariana, I saw when you were working on this, on the feature, the thing you were struggling with is you're actually flipping these lines. You were sending this down, this, right? Yeah, you were sending stuff in the opposite direction that it was actually going. Welcome to the world of drawing. I can't hear you, honey. You're on mute.
Sorry. What confuses me with this mouth is that the middle of the mouth,
What's that?
line, I don't know how to say it actually.
Go ahead.
The line in the middle,
yes,
of the mouth is not right in the middle of the upper lip, but it is in the middle of the down lip, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like straight. It kind of goes down, straight, and then up.
Mhm.
That's all you need to know. Don't get too caught up in stuff like that. So let's start with like the basics. Let's define just the edge of our mouth, right? However long it's going to be. And when I say define, I mean, let's define it from here to here, right? From here to here. So the first thing is I'm just deciding randomly how big I want to make this. Okay. And then I'm going to draw a line kind of straight across. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3. I'm going to, yes, I kind of want to make this about 1/3. 1, 2, 3. 1, closer to the edge. 1, 1, 2, 3. That's about right. So here. So this line down the middle here is about 1. It's a little less than 3/3. Right? There's a little bit more of an edge here. So I can come here and mark my third, my third, my third, and there should be just a tiny little bit more to the edge. And then I can draw the line up and down. And this line, of course, is kind of where the middle of the mouth is, but you'll notice because we're looking at it from the side because he's smiling slightly, that this line kind of comes up, this middle line kind of comes up. Oops, too far. I hope it makes you guys feel better to see me making all these mistakes. Notice, I'm so used to making mistakes, I don't even think about it anymore. It's actually just part of how, so that's the middle line. See how it kind of relates? You can't really see the middle line because it's so dark, but it kind of relates. It kind of relates to this straight line by coming a little bit above and a little bit down below and then kind of above like that. So that's the middle line of the mouth. Now, if you want to know how far up to go, 2, 3. This should be 1/3 and this should be 2/3. 1, 2, 3. See that? So this part right here should come about 1/3 up. And if I go 2/3 down, that's how low the lip goes. If I really want to check that, I'll check that against here. Okay, and after this next step, I'm going to check your work. So, watch. It's kind of like, it's like an angle here. I don't know if I've quite got this shape right. I may have to bring it down. And then it kind of comes up like this, and then straight like that. So this part, to show him smiling, this middle line comes up and this bottom part of the lip comes up, but the top part of the lip is straight. The bottom part of the lip has a very distinctive shape. It's like this, right straight down and then over. And then here we go straight. And then we kind of go up like that. And then if we want to, you can add in this, right, for the mustache shape, the bottom of the mustache. Maybe that's enough. So get yourself to this shape, this step. Just, oh. Okay, let's see. Okay, Paul, pay attention to the shapes, please. This is not happening. You drew it like that. That's not what's happening. Pay attention to the shapes. Also, this needs to come farther in. You have it here. Really, it needs to come farther in. There we go. Let's see. So Jean, this isn't straight across. It's down.
Oh, okay.
Right? And 1, 2, this is down a little bit lower.
Okay.
Okay. This is too thick. So
What's
bring
too
it down
Yeah.
just a little bit. Bring it down. You have it up here like that,
Okay.
and then you've done that. See the difference?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so thin it out a little bit on top. Just a touch. This should never be, this part of the lip should never be as tall as this part.
Okay.
But really, you just need to bring this down a bit more. Okay. And then, of course, I'm going to darken this upper lip, because that's really going to help me see what's happening with the lower lip. So Josie, did you see we got, oh no, you didn't. So we just got a note across the thread saying that Addie is going to be back next week. She's 12. So you won't be the only kid in class. You decide to come back. Addie will be here too. Maybe up a little bit higher. Actually, even kind of comes up in like that. Okay, better, Paul. Better. See, Paul, you always know how to do it. You just need to keep reminding yourself.
Yeah. Or
To do it.
Yeah. Well.
And also, this is not a correct shape. Your shape looks like this. It really should come down lower.
Okay.
Right? It's just this, it's just the focusing, right? Like really focus on the shapes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So,
anyway, I got to say goodbye because I have to go. I have to be somewhere at 6.
oh, okay. But thank you for coming in today. It was great to see you.
Yeah, it was great.
See you,
Okay.
Paul.
Yeah. Come in
Okay, bye, everyone.
anytime.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. So a couple things to note, right? That this middle line, if I was to divide the lip into like, into thirds, the middle line of the mouth is the top third, right? So if the mouth is from here to here, here to here, the top third, almost always, that middle line is the top third. The bottom of the lip, this part of the lip is always darker because it's turning away from the light, it's turning in. This part of the lip is lighter because it's turning towards the light, but you'll see little edges that are slightly darker. And of course, on the dark side, it's a little bit darker, right? Because it's on the dark side of the face, but it's still lighter than what's happening up here. And you'll notice there's also these little reflections. But notice, you might even want to, a little bit like the way we did with the eye, the bottom lid of the eye, right? Some things are so light, we either don't draw the line, or we make it like super light on this side. Notice under the chin, it's darker. Under the lip, sorry, on the top of the chin, under the lip, it's darker. Right, notice it's a little bit, it's like a 2, maybe. And then, of course, the last thing we have is this mustache shape, which is just funky because it kind of falls into some shadows as well. Notice how the lip on this side and the shadow and the mustache and the edge of this all kind of comes in together. It all kind of blends together as one. Here it gets a little bit lighter, less hair. Here it gets darker. But there's this distinct kind of light shape between the dark. So this is what happens, right? Like you start drawing in the mustache and then you forget about this shape. One forgets, not you guys, everybody, right? We forget about this shape, these shapes. So you want to make sure that we've got these shapes in the right places before we start really focusing on. Here, they kind of blend together. Here it gets kind of skinnier. But really, of course, the most important thing are these angles. Right here, this shape. Here and here. So let's see how you do. Oh my God, it's totally 5:30. We're gonna go. We're gonna work another extra 5 or 10 minutes. So, I'm sorry. We actually worked right up to the edge of class. That's just crazy. There we go. It's too extreme. See that? This is too extreme. Also, this comes out longer. Your edge of your mouth, which is really here, notice it comes, you've kind of brought things into, you scrunch them, you've brought them into here.
Okay.
So bring it out. Nip this down. This should really be long, and look at this shape, long and thin. Look at this shape, right? In relation to those two shapes. Look at this shape in between, right? Get all those shapes right. This should be twice. This should be 1/3. This should be 2/3. And it doesn't really come in here like this. It doesn't do that. It actually comes out and blends in. If you look really closely, you'll see.
Yeah.
It kind of just blends right in there. So all of those things are going to help you make shapes. Isn't this tripping you out? Oh, let's see. Hold on, Josie, I want to see. Josie, that looks pretty good. I'm going to tell you to do one thing, one improvement, okay? Right here, you'll see that you kind of don't have this light shape here, this light triangle. Add that in, and it's really going to help shape your mustache, your mouth. Very nice work, my dear. Good job.
Thank you.
Really good job. Oh, that's awesome. I gotta work. You got, technically class is over, but we're gonna go another 5 or 10 minutes. I just want to. For those of you who've been taking this class a while, do you find this helpful? Is it helpful?
Yeah.
Super, like, helpful, right?
It's really good to break
Yeah.
it down.
It's
Yeah.
helping you kind of, I was like, it's so hard to see some of this small. So I was like, well, we really should like put this together. I'm tempted to want to draw this face again, but we should probably just move on. I don't know. We'll think about it. Let's think about it. But I might try and split up all the lessons into 2 sessions. One where we work on placement, right, of the features. And then the second where we actually work on the features, right, itself. So we might not try to do everything in one class. Although I know it's not as satisfying that way. Sometimes it's like harder. I don't know. Maybe we'll just try it the way we've been doing it. We'll do the best we can with the features, and then we'll review the features so you can change it if you want to. Yeah. So what of anything have you learned from this experience? What are you kind of carrying away from this that can be helpful? Besides that, it's hard. What is there anything that you, any kind of like visual rule, anything that sort of helped?
With this class, doing it separately or overall?
No, this class. From working on the features big like this.
So seeing the things bigger is definitely different. And from my particular point of view, it helps with the perspective. It's going to be more difficult than to put things in place when they're ready. Mm-hmm. But the portions you already have are well placed themselves.
Right. And the proportions, do you mean stuff like this? What's happening over here?
I mean, yes, exactly. For example, in a drawing, smaller drawing, you cannot tell, for example, that 2/3 are this side, 1/3 is this side, it's too small.
Right.
And then
it's harder to tell. You can when you can see it, right? But it's harder to tell. It's harder to tell. Go ahead, keep going.
No, that's it. Also, I think because we have too many elements in a whole drawing,
Mm-hmm.
to me, you get lost. Because
very
when
easy.
when you finish the sketch, you see 100 things that are wrong.
Right.
And when you're trying to fix, yeah, when you're trying to fix one, you screw up others that were fine.
Right,
So
right. So this helps kind of, so maybe we're starting to get a sense of how to look at how to sort of go about problem solving, right? Which is to start with the bigger shapes first, right? And what I hope is that you'll really get the difference between this side and this side, the significant difference in the perspective, meaning everything, right, is kind of slanted up. What about you, Josie? Did you learn anything out of this class? How did this go for you? Oh, better, Jean, a lot better.
You get a lot of lead on your hands, number one.
Yes, you get a lot of lead on your hands.
Yeah. Number two, the eyes are not almonds.
Right. Yes, that's a great lesson to learn from this. And they're super light down here, right? And super dark. Excellent. Well, we love having you. So if you want to keep coming back, you should keep coming back. You'll be able to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Jean, what about you? Did you get is there anything that you got out of this class that had been like, I don't know, eluding you before?
Yes, because when I'm concentrating on what you're doing, it's great to do that, but then I need to go back to the source and look at the source. Because what I ended up doing, why my mouth was so bad, was I was drawing your marks on top of the mouth. Does that make sense?